In this video, we will show you how to replace your tailgate kit on the Chevy Silverado. This is all parts of your tailgate located along the rear of your vehicle. Let's get into it. Okay, friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing we want to do is open our tailgate. Now with the tailgate open, some tailgates will have a protective cover over this area, which you would want to remove. Ours does not, so we'll be continuing on with our 3 mounting bolts here. We'll be using a 13 millimeter for each of these 3 bolts. That was a little rusted. Now we're going to bring up the tailgate, but we don't want to latch it in. We're just holding it in the upright position. You can see the handle does move around. We're going to have to remove 2 rods from it. Each one will make its way towards the side of the tailgate. Before we do so, we actually want to dislodge this plastic bezel. It has 2 locking tabs. One's approximately right here and the other one's right about there. For this, you can use a small trim tool or even a screwdriver if necessary. You just want to be extremely careful not to cause any damage to the paint of your vehicle. Once you have the upper portion dislodged, we're going to lift this up a little bit. It has 2 small locating tabs down along the bottom. There we are. Now we'll start pulling this off of the handle. We'll set that aside. We're replacing it. While lifting up on the handle, we can see those 2 rods right in this area. They're held in place with plastic clips, so for this you can use an angled pick, a small screwdriver, whatever you need to. We're essentially just pulling those clips down and away from the rod, spinning them out of position. As you can tell, ours is extremely rotted. Once you have the clip dislodged, you should be able to pull the rod out of there. Once again, this is rotted, so it's going to be a little bit difficult, but typically it should just slide right out. There's one. Let's get this other one. There we are. Got both those rods off of there. There's our handle. Now, if during this process your tailgate did latch in, you could easily reach in here and take hold of both of the rods and pull them towards the center. That's what the handle would do, and that releases the latches. Now we're going to be focusing on one side of the tailgate at a time. Once we have one side done, we'll go over and do the exact same thing on the other. For this, you're going to find that you have a cable along each side of the tailgate, which leads up to the body of the vehicle. For this, we're going to dislodge the cable. We're only doing one side. Just pop this off of here. It has a small locking tab that you can pry away with a screwdriver or even your fingers in some cases, and then just slide that up and away. Now we can set the tailgate down, and we'll continue on with our latch. We'll be continuing on with a 13 millimeter for each of our 2 mounting bolts. As we pull this away, you'll find one of the mounting bolts has your cable still attached to it. We'll set this aside. We can remove that later. Take hold of the latch. We're going to start pulling it out and away. This does have the rod which attached to that handle that we just dislodged. You can see it making its way out. Just a quick inspection of that and we'll set it aside. With everything out of position here, we can go ahead and clean up the mounting area. We want to inspect it, make sure it's not rotted, weak, or damaged. After cleaning this area, we can apply some anti-seize to the threaded portions. Now we're going to prepare to install our brand new latch. The first thing we want to do for this is just have a quick peek at where that vibration bumper is. If you were looking at the original that we had just removed, we have this small tab right here, should have a rubber bumper on it. This one's missing, part of the reason why we're replacing it. As you can tell, ours has it in the same exact spot. If you were looking at the latch for the other side of the vehicle, you'll find that that bumper is on the opposite side. So we'll just go ahead and set this aside for now. Now that we find the latch that we need, We'll continue on with our rod. We're going to take that rod and slide it right on through this port here. Let's get this in position here. Going to start bringing it all the way straight on through. As you're sliding that latch into position and the rod, we want to pay attention to the very end of the rod where the tailgate handle would go. You can see that there's this small shelf right along here. You want to make sure that you have this up above the shelf, not underneath hanging down in this area. Otherwise, you're going to have to remove the latch and the rod and then bring it up and press it back into position. We'll make sure we have this area of the latch facing up, so when we do shut the tailgate, this is where the striker is going to sit and push right on in. We'll start installing the mounting hardware. Now, as for the inboard side, we need to make sure that we're using the original bolts. Should slide through. It has that small shanked area, so when you do tighten it, this can pivot. Now that we have both pieces of mounting hardware started on, I'm going to take the strap, pull it up towards the very tip of that mounting bolt there, and we'll continue on tightening each of these. For our brand new hardware, we're going to be using a 12mm. It's important to check that this can move as it should. Let's bring the rest of that cable up to its mounting point here on the body. We'll just lift up on the tailgate, press it in, slide it down, listen for a click. Now that we have that attached, we're going to move up to dealing with the striker. This is where the latch is going to sit over. We have a new one, so we're going to replace it. What you're going to find for this is if you're looking at the very tip of the striker, you can use a T40 Torx to start unscrewing this, but you'd actually have to make your way behind the tail lamp so you can hold onto the mounting nut. With that said, to remove the tail lamp, we're going to remove 2 Phillips head screws. There's one on the top, one down along the bottom. Pull that out of place. I'm using a 15mm in here. Go ahead and break that nut free. Start unbolting that. Let's install our brand new striker. Now, when installing this, typically if you look at the body of the vehicle, you can see the ring where the original hardware was, so we just want to have that set in the same positioning. Go ahead and double check both sides. We have the washer portion on each side there. Snug it up by hand here. Now, if this is misaligned, you'll find that you have an issue closing your tailgate, so take your time on this. Tighten this up. Double check, make sure that's secured in place and properly aligned. We'll continue on reinstalling our tail lamp assembly. Make sure your tail lamp's secured to your vehicle. Now that we've got this side all together, we're going to go over and repeat this exact same process on the other side of the tailgate. Once we've done that, we can start bringing the tailgate into the upright position. Now, you may find when you bring the tailgate up, it does not want to latch. That's due to the fact that during shipping, the latches come in the latched position. So we're just going to take hold of each one of these 2 rods, give them a little tug towards each other to dislodge each one of those latches or unlock them. There we are. Let's see if this closes. Should stay in place. The next thing we want to do is clean and inspect the mounting area where the handle and the bezel will sit. And we'll prepare to install our handle. Along the bottom of the handle itself, you can see the area where your rods will go. Obviously, the one for the passenger side is going to go over towards the passenger side of the tailgate, and then the same for the driver's side here. For these rods, we're just going to take them, we'll get them in position, and then lock this in by pressing this plastic tab up and over the rod. Just start bringing that rod into position. You can use an angled pick if necessary. I pressed it in as far as it'll go. Lock it down. Double check, make sure the rod will not fall out of place. Otherwise, the tailgate will not open as it should. Repeat the process for the other rod. Now we can get this in position. Now we can start getting this in position. I'm going to start in each of my 3 mounting bolts. You never want to tighten the mounting bolts until you have all of them started in. There we are. Now while holding this up against the tailgate, we can tighten these up. For our brand new hardware, we're going to be using a 12mm. Now we have the handle mounted. Before we put on the bezel, let's just go ahead and test the functionality, confirming that the tailgate does open and close. If you find that your tailgate does not want to open or close properly, it might just be an issue with the alignment of your striker. Now it's time to install the bezel. There's a couple things we'll pay attention to. We'll look along the backside here. Now in this area along both sides, you're going to find that you have a small foam piece with a sticky portion. We're going to remove the outer protective paper from each of these. A couple other areas to pay attention to. Along the bottom of this, you have 2 small locating tabs, and your locking tabs are up along the top. Looking at the tailgate, you can see that there's 2 small ports down along the bottom for those locating tabs, which are on the bottom of the bezel. We'll start getting this in position. Commonly for this, you're going to want to hold the tailgate up against the vehicle. We'll lift up on the handle a little bit so we can slide it inside of this area, and we'll roll it into place. Should be able to slide that in. Okay. Press it in, listen for a click. Let's test that tailgate one more time here. Now your kit came with new hardware for your hinges. If you're replacing those, we're going to have to dislodge the tailgate from the body of the vehicle. To do that, along each side of the tailgate, you do have your support strap. We're going to dislodge it from the top portion here. Just go ahead and lift up on the tailgate. We'll pull away on the locking tab. We did one side, we'll go over to the other side and repeat the process real quick. Now that we've done both sides, we're going to make our way back over to the passenger side. Lift up gently on the tailgate so it's at an angle, and we'll start pulling this out and away. Now that we have this portion pulled away, we're going to completely pull it towards the passenger side, removing it from the driver's side as well, and then we'll slide this into the bed of the vehicle so we can continue on. Keep in mind your tailgate is heavy. With the tailgate rested in a safe position, along the bottom of each corner of the tailgate, we have our hinge. Now to dislodge these, it's the same process on either side of the vehicle. They're going to have 2 13mm mounting bolts holding each of them in place. Hold on to that. Now once you have that off of there, the next thing you need to do is give it a thorough inspection. Confirm it's not rotted, weak, or damaged. If it is, you want to go ahead and replace it. This one looks fine. We'll set it aside temporarily. Use a wire brush, clean this up. Just a close inspection. Once again, confirming nothing's rotted or damaged. This is super important. It's time to install that hinge now. Let's get this into position. Start in our new hardware. While pressing this firmly against the tailgate, we can continue on tightening that hardware. Double check, confirm that's properly secured, repeat the process on the other side of the tailgate, and then we'll continue on to the bed of the vehicle. Along each side of the bed of the vehicle, we have our other portion of the hinge. This is directly mounted to the bed with two 13mm headed mounting bolts. Let's remove the pair. There's that one. Let's get the next one. Just hold on to that hinge portion there. Slide that right out of position. Just use our wire brush on this. That looks good. Just double check, make sure that's not rotted. That looks good. We'll clean the body of the vehicle as well. All right, let's get ready to install that hinge. Looking along the back side, you'll find that you have one locating tab and of course both bolt holes. We just want to make sure we have this properly aligned. We can start them in and snug them up. Get in the proper orientation. Hold this up against the vehicle. Be careful for any pinch points. You can tighten this up. Let's double check, make sure that's secured properly, and repeat the process on the other side of the truck bed. Now at this point we have all the brand new hardware installed. We're going to take that tailgate and we're going to slide it onto this area on the driver's side first. After that, we're going to have to pivot that tailgate so we can install it on the passenger side as well. When installing this, you want to make sure you do not have your cable in an area where it can get caught. There we are. Here we go. Get that aligned. Press it in. Once you have both hinges in place, it's time for our two support straps. Just go ahead and line those up. Latch them in. Same process for the other side. All right, now we have all the hardware installed. Let's test the functionality one more time. Perfect. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.